So with product innovation happening, and the industry's, I guess, maturity level, since the inception of the Farm Bill in 2018 to now, we have so much more infrastructure in place, and there's been a lot of headway made in some of the areas that are more difficult to get into, where there's red tape involved. The building industry is one big one, the ICC code. Maybe you can address that a little bit. But I know even like on the grain side of things right now, there's all kinds of movement going on in the adaptation of grain for animal feed. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't want to keep beating the perfect storm, but we really do have that. And so how are some of these new regulation changes, besides the potential for rescheduling, some of the red tape we're getting past and the maturity of the industry? Are you guys using this in some of your sales pitches with farmers? And then how is this coming into play for your businesses?
I think that one of the big things that they need to start working on is the conditioning of these seeds. I mean, especially for to make a better fiber out of this plant, you have to condition the seeds, and you can get a fiber. They do this in China. They condition their seeds to get a finer fiber, a more cottonized fiber, to make better clothing. Here in the United States, they want to make these polyfibers out of this plant, so they're going to use the cellulose. They don't care. They would rather us grow the THC plants and the cannabinoidal plants and just use those. You know, because they basically take that pulp and everything and move it together to make, that's what the kind of the fibers they're trying to make with this. So we have to get away from that. That's huge, and that's the United States. That's what's happening now. They're not teaching you to condition these seeds, and that's what's going to help these fiber and people who want to clothe us get a better grasp on this plant. There's so much to learn.
Yeah.
How about you guys? How is all of this affecting your business?
Yeah, it's definitely really promising to see. Like you said, working with the HBA and seeing it get adopted to the IRC was a huge milestone. And now continuing that research to develop standards of building grade herd is really, really awesome. And it's going to be huge steps for farmers, processors, the whole industry, because in order for this to go from a niche product into, and I'm talking building here, into a standardized mainstream product, what we need is consistency and standardization. And so that goes all the way back to the genetics, like what Keith was touching on, like what seeds are we growing? What is our herd content? What's the, even down to like the porosity of the herd, and how does that affect the building envelope? Because if I'm putting out 300 houses of panel kits, I need to be able to rely on my supply stream to produce a consistent and standardized material. And so I see every day that that's the direction we're moving in, at least in the building industry. And so once those pieces start to come together, then we'll start to see serious supply chains form around these different products or end uses. If it's plastic dashboards or hempcrete, it's all about just figuring out exactly. And so I'm definitely excited to see how it develops.
Yeah, the innovation aspect, like Keith was just saying, there's so much to learn, and so much. We are literally innovating an industry day by day.
Yes.
It's and maybe if you wouldn't mind, because you are involved so much in the Hemp Builders Association, U.S. Hemp Builders Association, and all the good things they're doing there. Maybe just talk a little bit about that. I mean, and the IBC codes, and that, I think that's coming out. Like they approved it in 2022, but the actual paper is being written, if I'm not mistaken, right now.
Yeah, get into the commercial codes.
Yes.
It's going to be huge. And the research that USHBA is doing is amazing. They have a lot of effort, a lot of smart people getting around to see how we can make this an actual mainstream product. Because you see other natural building materials, which I love, like straw bale or cob. They stay in these small niche areas. It's because if you go onto a straw bale site, it's like, okay, let's eye it up and let's mix it, and oh, it looks good, throw it on the wall. That's not going to work when we're talking about mainstream or commercial buildings, like where everything has to be very repeatable, very standardized. And so I think the great thing about USB HBA is that they understand that, and they're working with processes across the country to see what a building grade herd is and how that performs. We've got big players like Cam McIntosh doing ASTM testing on fire ratings. There's other people who are trying to create these products and get them actually certified, and that's going to be the key for sure. And I think there's a lot of momentum in the building industry because especially on the hempcrete side, because it is such a high performance material. So it's amazing for thermal regulation. It's completely non-toxic. It's resistant to mold and fire. So there's a huge demand for a product like this. And now it's just about, like you said, stepping over the red tape. What things do we have to do? What hoops do we have to jump through in order to be able to get this to be a widespread material? Because once it is, people will see its merit, and then that will also stimulate all the local ag economies, and we'll be able to come back to a more regionally based supply chain that we won't have to spend so much on our houses and construction, and it'll all be readily available, and in a way that we can actually do it. Like, it's accessible for people to want to build their own houses and play a part in it. So yeah, awesome. Really excited about the HBA.
Yeah, I think the key is the supply chain, because that's where it's non-existent right now. There's really not a supply chain, and that's going to start with the processing facilities. There's a lot going up in this next few years, so we're going to see how this goes. Yeah, there's a lot coming up, and a lot of the indigenous are getting involved in the processing facilities, and that's what I want to see. I want to see the indigenous get their processing facilities to get a hold of that, where they can get their farmers and their people involved to bring them all together, man, and give them jobs. And I think that's a big key.
Yeah, and I'm real excited about the same ways you're excited about the U.S. Hemp Builders Association. I'm excited about the Hemp Feed Coalition. So the HFC, some really influential folks are in our industry head up that organization. Some of the pioneers, and what we're seeing now is, which will come to light here very shortly, is I think FDA even put out a statement saying it's pretty much a done deal for laying hen chickens to be approved to feed hemp grain to these animals.
It's huge. That's when your food becomes your medicine once again. We start feeding these animals back the cannabinoids like they're supposed to be eating, and then we have our food as medicine once again. And we did that with chickens and ducks, so we had cannabinoidal eggs, and that was nice. But yeah, I think using the seed packs after you pressed it, and then mixing it with a cannabinoidal to feed, I think that's the key. That's your food is your medicine. It comes out better that way.
Yep.